Hey, you guys, Amy Clinton here, coming to you from my favorite spot, close to where I live. We're at the Ohio Pile State Park, and this is the place that I come to walk, to hike, whenever I'm stressed and just feel unsettled. It's the place where I come and I find my favorite rock and I sit next to the river and I listen to the sound of music, and it just centers me. It just brings me some more peace. So I decided that it would be the perfect opportunity to come to you today to start our brand new series that we have going on this summer. And today I am going to talk about anxiety. I decided that anxiety was going to be my first topic because it is the one thing that has kind of held true and held firm through my entire life. As a child, I remember suffering with anxiety a little bit, and then, as I got into my teenage years, it got worse. But I will tell you, when it absolutely took off for me was whenever I first had my kids. And all of the sudden, all of the anxiety and all of the fear that I felt for me personally was amplified with two young kids, right? Like, if I felt like I couldn't keep myself safe, how in the world was I going to keep these two little babies safe? And so I want to talk a little bit today about my journey. I want to talk about why I decided to share some of these really personal stories with you. And then I'm going to give you a few tips if you struggle with anxiety and fear as well, on how I have been able to put it more in its place, how I can now live a very full, exciting, happy life while I'm walking through anxiety. So, like I had mentioned, I had these two young kids, and I was just fearful. It was like things that would really bring on my anxiety were things like going places that I had never been before because I didn't know what to expect, right? Taking the kids out for the first time to a new place alone. If my husband was there, then I would rely on him to kind of take the lead, and I would know that if something came up that felt like it was out of control to me, he would take care of it. But whenever it was just me, it was it was full of anxiety. And I would worry about, well, if I got somewhere and someone started talking to me and I didn't know what to say, oh, they would think that I was completely crazy. Or what if there was a problem, or I had a question, or I needed to go talk with someone else, and they would think I was just dumb, right? It was really very debilitating. It got to a point whenever I was about 22. I had two young kids at the time. And sorry, I was just thinking about the timeline a little bit there. And I remember specifically this one occasion where I had taken my 2-year-old and my baby to Walmart, and we were doing some grocery shopping. And I had gone through the entire store. I had a full cart full of groceries. We were almost done. I was in the meat section, and I was picking up a few things that we needed for dinners. And I wish I could remember what triggered it. And I have tried to remember, and I just don't know what it was. But something inside of me just told me that we were in danger. And I left a whole cart of groceries in the middle of the meat section of Walmart. And I picked up my two kids and we walked out the door. And that was when it really started to become real for me. That was when it really started to interfere with my daily life. And things got pretty serious. If someone was calling me and I didn't know who was on the other end of the phone, I wouldn't pick it up, because what if they had a question for me that I didn't know the answer to? Even more serious than that was I was afraid to make phone calls. I was afraid to call very simple things like my mom. I was afraid to call my mom, you guys. I was afraid to call my best friend. And the reason was, what if they were busy? What if I was being an inconvenience? What if they didn't want to talk to me? It was like, if I didn't know what was going on in their house, I couldn't make the phone call, because what if I interrupted it and was an inconvenience? And it got to the point that I wouldn't leave my home unless I had my husband there, or unless I was, taking the kids to the park, or we would go to the library. I could put the kids in the car and drive to my mom's and go visit her, but I couldn't make the phone call. I mean, there was about a 2-year time period there that it was pretty serious, and I knew it was pretty serious. I would spend a lot of time, obviously this was before you could just Google any answer that you were looking for, and I would spend a lot of time in the bookstore, and I would stand in front of the self-help section looking for books on anxiety. And I would buy them all. I would buy the anxiety books, the workbooks, everything that I could do to try to work through this, because the other issue was, I knew that I had a problem, but I couldn't make the phone call to go seek help. I couldn't make a doctor's appointment so that I could get the true help that I needed, because my anxiety and my panic was to that point that I couldn't put myself out there. So I learned from the very beginning kind of how to deal with it on my own. And I'm not saying that that's the way to do it. I know, looking back, that I really needed some professional help at that point. I just wasn't ready for it. And so, it just became something that I always learned to work with. And I share this all with you today for 2 reasons. The first reason is, I truly believe in my heart the things that I have gone through and the things that I have learned, how to ease through a little better, how to make it a little easier of a transition. If I have information that could help someone else, well, then I truly feel like it's my duty to share it. I shouldn't keep my anxiety, right? My embarrassment about the situation. I mean, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed by the fact that I couldn't leave my house. And there were so many things that I have learned that I really feel like it's my job now to share with others. And the other reason that I share it is because I want you to know that if I can make my way through it, then you can too, right? I was the person that couldn't leave my house, couldn't make a phone call, was afraid to go anywhere without my husband. But yet here I am today. And, once the kids went to school, I was president of the PTO. I have been in the hospitality industry for 20 plus years, dealing with the public and the issues and the problems that arise in a hotel. I spent the last 8 years being the general manager of a hotel, where, let me tell you, there's no hiding there. If there's a problem, you have to deal with it right away. There's no, like, I'm feeling a little anxious today, I can't go talk to this upset guest, right? And now I stand in front of a room full of 100 people and can talk. And I run a very successful coaching business where now I get to help others who also have some of these issues reach their full potential and live the life that they're excited to live. So I share it because if I can do it, you can too. This is powerful, powerful stuff. This isn't to say, I just want to be very clear, you still need to get professional help, right? You still need to go to the doctor. There have been times in my life where I have been medicated, and there have been times in my life where I haven't been. And I am a big proponent of, you got to do what you got to do to feel good. And you will find a lot of health coaches out there, really antidepressants, against those things. And I'm not one of them. I think that there's a time and a place for all of that. But I also want to tell you, you just can't rely on the medication. The medication does not fix all of your problems. The medication is there to take the edge off for you and to give you a chance to breathe, so that then you can use some of the tools that I'm about to share with you to really begin to thrive. Okay, so today I'm going to share 6 tools with you. And I want to start by saying these are simple tools. And because they're simple tools, I don't want you to discredit them. I don't want you to think that doing these things just seems so easy that this isn't going to work for you. These tools are very simple, but doing this work is not easy. Okay? There is a very big difference between simple and between easy. And while this is simple, some of the work that you're going to do is going to be hard work. Okay? So the first thing that I want you to do is just breathe. Just breathe. Whenever we are feeling anxiety and panic and fear, the first thing that we do is we start to either breathe very shallowly, or we hold our breath. You may not even realize you're doing it. And all of a sudden you're like, I'm out of breath and I can't breathe. So whenever I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I do once I get out of bed and I go outside and I let the dog out and I stand out on my porch and I take a big, deep breath. And I breathe in all the air and I breathe in as full as it will go. And then I exhale and I literally feel my shoulders drop. I feel the stress release. If there's holding stress in a certain place, I let it go. So a big deep breath in and I let it go. And the more I do that, the more that I'm able to pick up on the fact of when I'm holding my breath or when I'm not taking full breaths. And I do that work all day long. The second thing is that you have to move your body. You have to go, you need to walk, you need to do some yoga, you need to stretch. You need to do something that you enjoy doing. You need to dance. Like, I don't care if you turn the music on in your kitchen and you just dance it out. My recent thing has been, whenever someone is upset or feeling stressed, I say, don't forget to wiggle, because let me tell you something, when you're wiggling, you're smiling. And so sometimes it's just that pattern interrupter. Like, you're stuck in your head, you feel out of control, there's all these things going on, and you just need to do something to break the pattern, to snap your brain out of it. And sometimes just a quick wiggle is all you need to give yourself a little chuckle, like, yeah, I look freaking ridiculous right now. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It brings a smile to your face, and it's a pattern interrupter. The third thing that I want to share with you is gratitude. Gratitude changed my life. It did. I'm not kidding you on this. And you can ask my clients. They will tell you that I harp on gratitude like nothing else. I used to be so caught up in looking for all of the bad things that could happen. I would notice every negative circumstance. I would let my brain run out the scenario of how bad this could all get. And then I switched my thinking, and I started to intentionally look for the good. And so every single day I write down 5 to 10 things that I'm grateful for. And sometimes they're really big things, and sometimes they're small things. You know, today I'm grateful for getting to work and come to you in this beautiful setting. Some days it's I'm grateful that the day is done and I'm curled up on the couch with a blanket and the dog, or a really great cup of coffee. But I challenge you to start looking for the good, and not only start thinking about it, but start writing it down as well. Okay? And whenever it's a really hard day and I'm stuck in that negative pattern, now I can catch it, and for every negative thought that I may have, I'm looking for the positive to go with it, because it's there. It may not be easy to find, you may struggle to find it, but it is there, I promise you. okay? The next thing that I want to talk to you about is meditation. So this isn't I'm not trying to, give you some woo-woo advice here, but meditation is something that I use to settle my brain, to quiet my mind. It's not always easy. It's not always going to go perfectly. There's a lot of times where I will sit down, and my goal is about 10 to 15 minutes of meditation a day. And I quiet my mind. I might put some music on in the background, or I might go to YouTube and pull up a meditation video. And my whole goal is to just give my mind a break. I don't know about you, but my mind is it's going a mile a minute, and I have a really hard time getting it to stop. A lot of times at night, whenever I'm going to bed, I have a hard time going to sleep because my mind is still going a mile a minute. So I use meditation to quiet my mind. And I find that whenever I'm able to do that, even if it's just for a couple of minutes, even if you've sat in meditation for say 15 minutes, but you only think that maybe there were 3 or 4 minutes that your mind kind of disconnected, that's still so beneficial. It gives you a reset, okay? Whenever it just feels, and I'll give you another hint, the best time to meditate is first thing in the morning. Before all of the stuff happens, before the day's gotten out of control and you're running a mile a minute and the stress is hitting you, one right after another. The best time to do it is first thing in the morning. And I say, in the morning, I take a deep breath, I stretch, I move my body a little bit, I go over what I'm grateful for, and I meditate because it brings me a peaceful morning. And if I start my morning in a peaceful manner, I have a better shot of maintaining that peace throughout the day. If I start my morning where I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, already running late, already feeling stressed, well, I can guarantee you my anxiety is going to be super high that day because I just keep fueling more things into it, okay? There's 2 more things that I want to talk to you about. The first one is whenever I hear a thought like, I shouldn't do this, whenever my anxiety starts talking to me and saying, I shouldn't go do this because I don't believe that I can, or I shouldn't make that phone call because they don't really want to talk to me anyway, or whatever the situation may be where my anxiety is starting to gain fuel, gain speed, I always ask myself the question, is this true? Is this true? And you'll hear me say this a lot. It works for so many different instances. Is this true? Is the story that you're telling yourself true? Is it true that they don't want to talk to you? Is it true that you're not good enough to do it? Is it true that you aren't worthy? Normally, whenever you sit back and you really assess and you really think about what is going on, you will find that you are telling yourself lies. You do not know that they don't want to talk to you. You don't know that you're not going to be able to accomplish it. You don't know, right? So instead of automatically going to the negative, flip it around and find the positive. I guarantee you, if you start believing in yourself and knowing that you can do it, you will be able to accomplish it. Will it always go smoothly and seamlessly? Will it always just line up perfectly? No. But you will start to see progress and you'll start to feel better about it. And then finally, the last piece is just keep going. Just keep going. Little steps, one right after the other. I'm not saying if you're full of anxiety right now that you need to go jump in the deep end of the pool. That's not what I want you to do. But I do want you to start putting yourself out there and start addressing piece by piece those things that are making you feel anxious. Because slow steps, once you accomplish one small step, you'll start to gain some confidence. You'll start to gain some momentum, and you'll be able to make the next step and the step thereafter and the step thereafter. If you keep going forward, you're going to be able to bridge all this gap that you never thought you were going to be able to bridge before. But one word of caution to you, if you hold up and pull back, if all of a sudden the anxiety and the panic and the fear get the best of you and you feel yourself pulling back, if you stay pulled back too long, it's going to be that much harder to move ahead. Whenever I was at home and I was afraid to leave my house, if I went out every single day somewhere, to the gas station, to the store, to the library, to the park, as long as I went out somewhere every day, it was easier the next day for me to go out. But if I stayed home for a week or 10 days or heaven forbid 2 weeks, that first trip back out was beyond scary to me. My anxiety was through the roof. So you have to keep pushing forward and keep going ahead no matter what. You know, now I still deal with a little bit of anxiety to this day. I don't think it will ever 100% leave, but now I have tools to be able to walk through it. And now I know if I'm home for a week and I haven't been out, I still kind of get that little twinge like, oh, I just don't want to do it. But the difference now is that I have enough experience behind my belt that I know that I'm capable, that I know that I can do it. 10, 15 years ago, I don't know that I would have been able to that easily. But now I can. Now I can. I've gone from the girl that was afraid to call her mom to the girl that will travel across country to meet strangers that she's, formed bonds with on the internet. I can do that now. I have done that now. I have stood in front of a room and talked to 500 people. I've ran board meetings, and I've coached other people how to do the same. So it is possible. If it's possible for me, I know that it's possible for you. So, all right, well, that's all I have for today. I hope you have enjoyed the scenery behind me. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous day. I'm gonna finish it up with a walk before I get on with the rest of my day. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope that the tips and techniques that I have shared with you will bring you a little bit of comfort, help you know that this too is possible for you. If there's anything else I can do, if you want to share your anxiety story with me, I would love to hear it. So please reach out. You can respond and leave a comment under this video, or feel free to direct message me at Midlife Reignited on Instagram. So I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.